Hello guys, as you guys can see, I'm not at home right now. I'm up at the school and I'll be meeting with some students here soon. And I just wanted to make this video here. This video will be in regard to the FLR technique. Some questions I got over there on the How to Learn Any Language site. So if I decided I'm gonna go ahead and make this video now because I won't have time later on. I'm gonna be really busy the whole day, so I'm gonna be here the whole day, and when I get back home I have to meet with some other students. So I'm gonna go ahead and read these questions here and answer them the best I can. Okay, so I got a question over on How to Learn Any Language by Delta 910, and he asks, okay, maybe it's me, but I'm somewhat confused with the FLR technique. It seems as though that right when one begins a language, one should right away create and learn these phrases you have put up to use in a conversation. But how can one do that when one knows nothing in the language or very little of that language? It seems as though it is more way to output rather than input, and is more intended for learners to use when they are at a higher level. Also, when talking about keywords in text at the beginning, for a new learner of that language, wouldn't all of the words of that dialogue be considered keywords, since one has no too little vocabulary needs to build from. So let me see before I continue to read on. Hold on for a second here. Okay, so back up to the first question. Yeah, like for a beginner, it is pretty much, I guess you can say that it's more like output, but at the same time you have to do some sort of input before you do that. And normally what I do, let's say I start off from a language fresh, okay, and I use this FLR technique. All right, I have no knowledge of the language, so I follow the steps, okay. Now, as far as the input part, you have to make some drills and whatnot. And how do you go about making those drills? You have to have some sort of resource if you don't have a native speaker. And normally what I do, if I don't have a native speaker, I will buy the resources. I know which resources to buy. I would get a teach yourself. I would get a grammar book. I would get a dictionary, a really good dictionary with example sentences. So, yeah, I learned those, and I kind of flip through the books to find like those keywords and in the constructions on how to put things together. Like, as I said before, grammatically I may be wrong, but I don't care because I know eventually I'm going to get it right. So when you're learning those interrogatives, like let's say for example, we use one of them for like someone asks you where you from. You can actually learn where you from a phrase book. That's already in a phrase book. You can learn that. But if you want to extend it, say, oh, I'm from America, but I am learning, let's say if I say I'm from America, but I am learning Farsi now, you can actually learn but from a dictionary, and I'm learning Farsi now. You can actually learn that from a phrase book, because they say like I am doing this now, I'm studying this, I'm studying Farsi now, or I'm studying science or whatever it is. You can find a lot of that stuff in the phrase book. So that's why I always recommend phrase books, because you can take like certain things from there and put them together. So yeah, I do that, and then I just use keywords and add to them. So I'm from America, but I'm studying Farsi now. But and now obviously won't be in that phrase book. You have to look it up. So I will look up but and now. I know those are keywords, so I look them up. Although I'm an American, I'm studying Farsi now. Although, you can look that up. So all of those words you can look up. Now you may have some pronunciation problems because, like I said, if you have like an audio course like Teach Yourself, it's not going to start off with, you probably going to have to flip through the whole book to find the word although and listen to the audio and see how you pronounce it. So the best thing to do is just get familiar with the pronunciation and try to pronounce it the best you can. And that's what I do. Okay. So, yeah, as a beginner, you can use that if you don't have any knowledge in the language. You just have to follow those steps. And you have to practice the stuff first before you go to the chat room. Get it organized. Now you probably won't remember all of it, of course. After you do all those drills, you're not going to remember all of it. So what you're going to have to do is when you make those drills, you're going to have your notes out when you go to the chat room. I made a video about that before. Someone said like it's cheating using your notes when you go to the chat room. That's not cheating, because if you're making drills, how are you going to memorize all that stuff? You're not going to remember all of it. You have to use it to remember. So normally what I do after I made my drills, okay, when I go through that step one, pretty much step one, step two, I make all my drills for that, what I want to say to the native speaker. I go to the chat room, I have my notes out, I use my notes for a certain period of time, I have to use it over and over and over again, and then eventually I won't have to use my notes anymore because I remember everything because I've been using it, and it all sticks. So that's what I do for that, for memorizing the words and phrases. And I just expand off of that. I keep doing that, keep doing that, keep doing that. So it's basically, you follow those steps before. This is like right before you actually start using a book, as in like listening to the dialogue from chapters 1 all the way to the end. You basically gonna use the book to look for the keywords. Okay, that's basically that's the first sweep I talked about before. You're gonna use the first sweep for looking for keywords. Okay, and that's what you do. So let's see here. Also, when talking about keywords and context beginning from new, what not all words to dialogue be considered? Yeah, no, I don't. I won't consider all the words to be keywords. Those keyword, I consider all those keywords to be they're kind of like sentence builders, like those conjunction types. It's just you use those to build. You build sentences and like building fluency in the language. So that's what I consider keywords. Okay, so it seems you are wanting to do output before you have any input of that language, or use that language before one has knowledge or large vocabulary of that language. See, that's why I said, like, because that's the difference between me and Steve Kaufman. Like, I like what Steve Kaufman is doing. He said that, like, input, he focuses on input for a certain period of time. Like me, I do the opposite at first. Now, input is important. You have to do input, but like when I first start learning language, I do input, but I don't spend like a long period of time on input at the beginning. I just don't. Because I like speaking the language right away. I start doing that right away. So, yeah, that's what I do. And if you want to speak right away, I think the FLR technique is the best way to go for starting off right off the bat and building up some foundation of the language, being able to produce actual sentences with a native speaker. So I'm not saying that my technique is the best for as far as like it's better than any other technique, but like for a situation where you want to start speaking right away, then you will use FLR. FLR is I should say it was one of the best techniques to use for getting started speaking the language. That's why people wondering why I'm able to produce sentences after like a week or two. I'm able to do that because I go ahead, I'll use the FLR and I practice that stuff. I go find chat rooms and I use all that stuff in there and I remember it. You see, so that's what happens. So let's see. It seems you're wanting to. Okay, I read that part. Also, when speaking to a native speaker, one just can't expect to know some key phrases and anticipate what. Yeah, of course. I mean, when I go to the chat room, when they may say some things I don't know, so it's not about rehearsing. It's not rehearsing. It's all about just use those keywords, putting stuff together, thinking about a scenario. Saying, okay, if I get asked this, how can I respond? It's just basically just trying to build off those keywords and stuff. So it's not like, okay, I'm going to get ready because they might say, how can I say it? You would still be thinking like, well, they may say this to me, may say that to me, but it's not what you thinking it is. It's not like that, and you're going to be caught with your pants down. So it's not like, okay, I'm going to go to the chat room and I'm going to be able to understand everything. You're not going to be able to understand anything, because not everything, because they're going to use some words that you're not familiar with. That's inevitable. So let's see here. Okay, yeah, it's inevitable. Okay, so furthermore, They may ask you one of those questions and you'll be, yeah. So they may ask you one of those questions, you'll give the answer, but then they'll come with another question that you haven't rehearsed. And you'll be caught with your pants down, very, very limited vocabulary with nothing else to help you. And that's why, because I don't think you went through the steps. Like, that's why there's a misunderstanding step. Like, you have to learn all that stuff too, because if they say something, I'm already know. Like if they tell me, if they say, if they use some word I haven't learned yet, like some keywords or whatnot, and I don't understand, I'm going to be able to tell them in their language that, you know what, I don't understand what you're saying, because I just started learning language and stuff like that, and tell them that, like, could they explain it to me and all that good stuff. So I may get caught with my pants down, but I know how to respond in the language, and I know how to hold my own in that situation. So I'm going to be still speaking in that language. So it's not like, oh, they caught me, it's over. It's never over. And if I have to use English, then I will switch to English. I'm not afraid of that. So yeah, it's not about going in the chat room trying to be perfect and go with your pants, go without being caught with your pants down, because you're gonna be caught. I'll take one of my better languages, better languages like Chinese, Japanese, and I still get caught with my pants down sometimes. They use some stuff I don't know, so you're going to get caught with your pants down regardless. It doesn't matter. So let's see. Yeah, so is this technique intended for right out of the box learners with no knowledge of the language? Yeah. So, I mean, people on a higher level, see, there are people out, see, this is the thing. There are people out there on a higher level, even like some high, intermediate, maybe low advanced. There are a lot of these keywords they don't even know. Like, I've actually met some people who were able to speak like they were like way beyond a beginner, but there were certain words they didn't know that they should have learned at the beginning stages. The beginning stage, when you start the FLR technique, you learn all those words, you will know them. So, I mean, yeah, when you're on a higher level, you can use this, but I think a lot of this stuff, there may be some keywords they don't know, but a lot of stuff they probably already will be able to do since they've spent a lot more time on it. But as a beginner, yeah, this is really good, and yes, it's good right out of the box learners with no knowledge. If you have no knowledge in the language, yeah, this is great. And I've done that with a lot of I've done it with Estonian. I've done it with a lot of the language I just started learning. I use FLR, and it works. So yeah, it works for the student without knowledge. If they don't have any knowledge in language, this is going to help them. Now, of course, pronunciation. There may be some pronunciation problems from not listening a whole bunch, but that's okay. Like I said, you get like Pimsleur or some sort of listening, and just get a feel of how things are enunciated, and then look at it and say, okay, I know that this word is pronounced that way, and just try it. And that's why I make my videos on YouTube. I do that. I already know my pronunciation gonna be off a bit. That's why I make the videos, to get feedback. That's why I make the videos, because I know that something's gonna be mispronounced. Like in Estonian, like when I first started doing Estonian, I didn't really I listened to some stuff in Estonian to get a pretty good feel of how things are pronounced, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna try it out. I put the video together, and you know what, those Estonians, they understand me they understand what I'm saying, despite some mispronounced words, and I just use FLR, and it's getting better, because now I'm at the point in Estonian where it's an input and more listening, and more listening. So at the beginning stage, I didn't do that much listening and reading. So this is really good technique for those who are like wanting to learn how to speak right away. It's really good. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to wrap this video up. I know that's sometimes I'm everywhere when I make my videos. My mind is just, I don't know, I've just jumped from from here to that one, to that one. But I hope I answered your question thoroughly, and if you have any other questions, just let me know. And I'm sorry for the late reply, because like I said, I didn't have time. Like this whole week I've been busy, and as you can see, I'm here at the library, and I'm about to get ready to meet with some students. So I made this video, and I'm going to make another video to answer someone else's questions. So like I said, I hope I answered you guys' questions thoroughly, and let me know if you have any more questions, and I'll try to get back to you ASAP. Thanks for viewing.